Good morning. My name is Alejandra Montufar. I'm from WatchGuard. I'm the channel development manager. And in this session, my partner, Leonardo, that is the engineer, helped me to do this presentation. So now we start talking about WatchGuard. And the channel program that we have. Leonardo, can we put the next slide? Okay, thank you. So WatchGuard, it's a company that had started or founded since 1996. We have more than 20 years in the market, in cybersecurity market. So WatchGuard appliance conduct 1 billion security scans every hour. WatchGuard Firefox is deployed every 4 minutes around the world. WatchGuard has saved customers since 16 years of labor for rapid deployed. So WatchGuard work around the world, and we work with distributors and only with partners. WatchGuard only sales only with partners. We don't sales direct for the end users. The next slide, please. As I mentioned, WatchGuard started in 1996, and 4 or 5 years ago, we bought Panda Security, and every year we try to buy a new security companies to have a better services for the end users and also for the partners. The next slide, please. We have 4 ways. The next slide, please. The endpoint security, or for architectures, endpoint security, multi-factor authentication, that is the topic in this webinar, network security, and secure Wi-Fi. And we have 4 specializations or 4 certifications for the partners. The next slide, please. It's very easy to be a WatchGuard partner. The first step is be a partner register. That is, you need to take an onboarding webinar, and then in this webinar you can sign the partner agreement. The next level is the silver, that in that level we need to buy an NFR, that we have a products NFR since $1. You can buy it with solution box. And the second is the certification for the salesperson, that this certification is free. And the second one is the certification for the engineer or the technique certification. This certification you need to renew every year, and this certification, the process you can find in the partner portal, and the amount for this certification is $200. But if the next in the renewal, the engineer passed the exam with more than 75 points, the certification is free. The next level is the gold, and in that way we need to have 2 NFRs. These NFRs need to be different. We need to have 2 sales certification persons. Then we have 2 technical certifications, and in that way we have two specialties in this way. The platinum is also with WatchGuard invitation, and we need 4 NFRs, we need 4 sales certification, and we need 4 persons in technique certification. In that way, we need to complete 4 specializations. And we need to present in the gold and the platinum a business plan. The next slide, please. In that way, we have a lot of benefits for the partners. Then one of the most important is our support, that we have support 24 hours per 7. This support that we have are in different languages. We have this support in Spanish also. And this is important because sometimes the support areas, the most of the support areas with other vendors are in India, and sometimes it's a little bit complicated to solution the problem that you have in the moment. So it's an easy way to go in that. So the next, we have corporate support too. We have equipment for support the partners that I'm in that team. We have an pre-sales engineer, pre-sales engineer. That is, in that case, this is Leo, that is in the webinar. And we have a team to investigate all the damage that are in the ecosystem in around the world in cybersecurity, and our support platinum. The next, please. So in that way, this is our partner portal. In our partner portal, we can manage our marketing resources. We can manage our customers too. We can manage our renewals. We can manage our security pays. That a security pays are speed that we have for all the sales that the persons, for the partners, the salespersons or the engineers do. The next, please. In that way, we have news, information about the industry, and events like this webinar with the specialists in the United States. So in that way, this is my presentation for the WatchGuard 1. That is the program, the partner program from WatchGuard. And now Leonardo takes the presentation because he talked us about the multi-factor authentication. Thanks, Leo.
All right, thank you, Alejandra. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much for the attendance. I am Leonardo Cesario. I'm a sales engineer for WatchGuard in the region of Latin America. And today we are talking about a little bit about our MFA solution. First, of course, talking about a little bit about the motivations for adopting a multi-factor authentication solution. This is something that it's not new for anyone, I guess, that is working in the sector of information security. But in the end, when we see most of the breaches, most of the attacks that really compromise companies, ransomwares, and well, other things that happen every day, most of them start with a stolen credential. So it's of course, this has a reason. It's way easier to trick someone into sharing credentials, sharing something, some information that the person is not aware of, than it is to, I don't know, try to exploit a corporate firewall. So in the end, we have like most of those issues, and we see in the news every day that almost all of those incidents start with the user. It's the weakest link in the chain. We have to protect it. And before we go forward with the presentation of the product, I'd like to remind or touch the concept of what is MFA. So it's simple. It's when we talk about authentication factors, we have 3 of them. The first of is something I know. So any knowledge that is in my head, in theory, that only I know, like a password, a PIN, security questions, other things that I can remember. The second one would be something I have, so any physical property external to ideally external to the system I'm trying to log on, like a physical token, a USB token, a mobile token. So it's something that something tangible that you can see and help to prove that you are yourself when you're logging into a system. And the third one would be the biometrics. So things I can use in my body to also identify me. Some examples are the fingerprint, iris recognition, facial recognition, voice recognition, and others, those methodologies. So multi-factor authentication is using functions of at least 2 of those factors that we discussed. So when I'm logging into a system that only has password, there's no multi-factor authentication. But when I log in a system that only requires me an OTP token, or only requires me to I don't know, scan my fingerprint, that's not multi-factor authentication either. You have to rely on methodologies of authentication from at least 2 of those factors to be considered MFA. Okay, so taking that away, finally we talk about a little bit about the platform itself. So AuthPoint is the product that WatchGuard promotes regarding the protection of those user credentials. It's basically a cloud solution. It's totally managed and from WatchGuard Cloud. WatchGuard Cloud is the single platform for our partners to manage configurations, visibility, inventory, everything related about WatchGuard products can be managed directly from WatchGuard Cloud, giving a lot of autonomy to the WatchGuard partner. So it's basically a system that uses OTP tokens, so tokens that generate random, not random, but unpredictable passwords, and refresh those passwords every 30 seconds. Rely a lot in the mobile application to manage those tokens, but we also support and fabricate and produce physical tokens as well, including the production of tokens is located in Latin America, in Brazil. So for projects that still need, or users that for one reason or another can use the mobile application. The idea with the system is to cover as many as possible external solutions and protect those users using the MFA. So we attend, as we're going to see, to some protocols that are really easy to configure and can cover a lot of well, modern and the most used cloud platforms from our customers. So about the mobile app, just to illustrate over here, I see that when I am streaming my cell phone screen, the application already detects it, and it doesn't allows me to mirror my screen to capture the image of my tokens from an external font unless I authorize it to do so. So it requests my biometrics on my application, and I allow the function of screen captures. So the user can protect their tokens with password or even its biometrics, including those other factors on the equation in an individual form, the user can also have multiple tokens on this application, corporate and personal. So if I am using Google Authenticator supported token on third-party systems that are not corporate, like I don't know, my HR platform or my Facebook, my Instagram, the user can import those tokens in the application as well. So it would be the only wallet for all the user tokens in a single point. And also the user has some other functions that help the administration of the platform. Like when we have, like the user changes his cell phone, we are used to similar platforms for the user to has to contact someone in the support of the platform to request a new token. Over here, we can simply access the token migration function. And the user, when he purchases a new phone, he can only set up this migration on his previous cell phone and activate those tokens on his new cell phone without having to speak to anyone. Okay, so easy of work to everyone. And it's available for iOS and Android, of course, free of cost in the application marketplaces. The application supports basically 3 forms of authentication. The first one is simply like by copying the password that is generated by the mobile app and input it into the system that I can access, that I want to access. This is, of course, a very nice increment on the security of the user than using only static passwords. But it doesn't cover all the modern fraud scenarios that we have today. Like I can have like a phishing platform, a phishing website. I think that one that everyone knows is the fake banking website. When you have like someone is sent you an email, a phishing email with a bank identity, and directs you to that exact copy of that website. There he requests for the user and the password for the hacker to use it on the official channel. This is something that the attacker can like use this methodology to attack every user of that particular system in a single process, in a single mass email campaign. So on this form where he requests the user and the password, he could request the OTP as well. Of course, he has to be fast because this password have a time expiry of 30 seconds, but it's doable. So that's why we recommend to use also, when you're talking about the offline authentication, the methodology which includes the QR code on the equation. This QR code is encrypted with the user token. Which means that only the user that has the correct token on his cell phone can scan it. So in that scenario, that phishing portal, it's not possible to massify the fraud anymore, because as this QR code is unique, the attacker will have to steal the credentials, input them in the official the official platform, recover this QR code, send to the user, and convince him to scan the QR code and share the password. User per user, you cannot massify that. So it's a very good, very nice security increase when we're talking about logging. Not that the OTP is bad, like it's way better than using a static password, but QR code represents better security. Or even using push-based authentication. It has the exact same mechanism as the QR code, only the user with the correct token can interpret, can unencrypt these messages received from Mouthpoint, and it's way more automatic and way more easier for the user to understand. So it's only a question, you know, are you, Leonardo Cesario, trying to access your VPN? Yes or no? I don't have passwords, I don't have to scan anything. So it's something that is simpler, and it's harder to convince the user to do something that, to trick him on doing something that he's not willing to do because he doesn't understand the technology. The only requirement is for the user to have connection on his cell phone, of course, but nowadays this is not a tough question anymore. So we have this other cases of other functions of authentication. In case the user doesn't have data connection on his cell phone, he can also authenticate on the system that he's trying to use. The first point of integration that we offer is a use case that is it's very common, which is for the VPN access. After pandemics, and there was a real huge movement to work from home. So VPN's requirements started to increase, and of course, with that, the attacks that we saw. So protecting the VPN access is something that is basically required nowadays, and this is the first use case that we cover. If I'm using a Firebox, which is the firewall, the UTM from WatchGuard, I don't have to have anything else on the customer infrastructure. The Firebox has already secure ways to connect with the WatchGuard cloud and request when the user connects to the VPN that WatchGuard Cloud authenticates that user, whatever the methodology he's using. But we can also work with external with third-party firewalls. In that case, we bring to the stage the off-point gateway module. The gateway serves like a radius server to an external firewall. So any firewall that supports the radius protocol for external authentication will see the off-point gateway as a generic radius server. So we can work with anyone. And the gateway, upon receiving this radius authentication request, will translate that in a secure protocol that will speak to WatchGuard Cloud. WatchGuard Cloud will request the user credentials and then answer to the gateway. The authentication is approved. And in the end, the gateway will translate this answer to a radius answer and tell the firewall, everything's okay, the authentication is done successfully, you can establish the VPN connection. And the gateway is also responsible for integrating with the external repositories. The most common that we see is Active Directory, but we support any LDAP server. And the nice part over here is that all the authentication, all the domain authentications are done on the user premises. So the gateway it's responsible for authentication, for authenticating credential domains, which means that I don't have to take any credential or sensitive information from the user's repository. I just need the user identification and an email so I can communicate with that user. Okay. Well, Offpoint also supports, today we are supporting Azure AD for pure cloud deployments. In that case, of course, everything is done by the internet. We don't need any internal components on the user network. And the gateway, of course, the license is free and it can be deployed in high availability. Well, of course, let's show that in action. So the nicest part over here is that the user experience doesn't change at all. We're only adding when we use the push authentication for establish VPN connection. The user only has to input his username and domain password in any client. I'm using, of course, the Firebox client, but the process is the same with any third-party client as well. And all I have to do is input my password. I should have put the wrong password over here. So if the password is correct, I receive the notification. It will request me to unblock the token using my biometrics. And I can see from where I'm coming, what I'm trying to access, what was the user who was requesting this authentication. I'm going to deny it so I don't lose the connection. And we also see another feature. It's normal for attacks nowadays. Just trying to establish the connection, but it's normal for attacks nowadays to span push authentication to the user's cell phone. So trying to, at some point, the user will be fed up with so many authentications requests that they're receiving, he will just approve it. So we have a function, so when you deny an authentication, you can also disable, temporarily disable push authentication requests. The next one is using the SAML protocol. So SAML is very common used protocol for cloud services authentication. So the technology behind this is pretty simple. The platforms, which are called service providers in this in this nomenclature of the protocol, are finally the platforms that the user wants to access. But the authentication will not occur on their databases anymore. They will redirect that authentication request to AuthPoint. So AuthPoint is really the guard in the door of those systems. The motivation behind that, it's pretty simple to understand. We are talking about, I have some, good examples here in my slide. AWS, Salesforce, Office 365, Azure. All those platforms are widely used today and contain critical information, or even the servers that host the services that the company provides to the user. So an unauthorized access on this platform, depending on the user, can do really do damage. And as these platforms are on the cloud, we can even implement like a good brute force prevention mechanism. This is not on our environment. And there's platforms over here that requests that the users, to be able to manage servers, to be able to access Salesforce, they have to have some MFA authentication solution to access that. So AuthPoint covers that. Anything that we already have, like a portal that contains several documented integration steps, what we need to do on AuthPoint and on the external platform to configure this connection, this integration. But it's a very simple process. And even that if a cloud platform is not on Leo's slide, it's not on my documentation portal, if the platform supports SAML, it can't be integrated with AuthPoint. So this is a case that you can rely on me, rely on WatchGuard support to help you doing a POC with any platform that uses SAML. There are some firewalls and some on-premises platforms that also support SAML. Everything can work with AuthPoint. AuthPoint also, as he's the guardian of all the platforms that you integrate, he can, once you start your session in the IDP portal, which I'm going to show you briefly in a second, or in any of the platforms that he's trying to log in, this authentication will be propagated to all other platforms that are configured to the user. Of course, we can have a granular control of which type of user has access to, I don't know, Salesforce. This can also be migrated from the user's Active Directory. So I have my sales group, which already has like server permissions, everything is set up in Active Directory. You can only mirror that for the permissions of the platforms that he's allowed to use using the integration that AuthPoint has with those domains. And of course, we also support internal users, and actually WatchGuard Cloud has like his built-in domain controller that you can rely on to create users and manage your users only from WatchGuard Cloud. Both of them are possible. So to show that in action, I have my login website over here. The user will be redirected to this web page whenever he needs to access a platform that he's trying to log in. All he needs to do is input his credentials. This I'm logging in directly to the IDP portal that we expose. The URL and all the brands that are shown can also be customized. And well, actually, let's do it by QR code so you can see it. So again, my username. Forgetting my passwords today. Okay, so it generates this QR code for me, which is unique for my user. Now I lost my cell phone. What's over here? And I can simply activate the QR code function over here on the app, read the QR code, and the password be shown to me over here. Great. And now I have all the things that I use on my workday already logged in. So it's really easy for the user, and it's also easy for who's operating the solution as well, because I don't need to be like creating my domain users in every platform that I use. As AuthPoint is the guardian of the gates, and AuthPoint has access to the domain, I can use my domain users even if they are not created on the platforms. So it really helps with the management of the access of those users as well, because with that you can only like block the user in Active Directory, remove him from a group, and this will propagate to AuthPoint, which will block the access, instantly block the access of the user to any platform that he used to have access. So ease of usage for everyone. And finally, we bring also the Logon app, which is a module that can be installed. It's configured by cloud and can be downloaded from the user account, already configured. Upon installation on a Windows or macOS machine, it will require for the user to approve his token when he's trying to log in on the operational system. This can occur by the local access, like the physical access to the operational system, but also for remote access. So the RTP connections to those stations will also be requiring for the user to approve his token. We support all the methodologies over here, push, QR code, OTP, and this is something that the user can authenticate himself even if he is totally offline. Imagine that you have your notebook in an airplane, you have no connection at all, you can still use QR code and OTP to log in on your station. And it's great also for protecting critical servers, the remote access of them, including like for a user trying to log in with his domain password, and another one will be responsible for approving a token that it's not with that particular administration at the moment. So yeah. And well, I'd like to show a little bit now about the configuration interface, WatchGuard Cloud, and how we do things over here. So AuthPoint relies and it's configured exclusively from WatchGuard Cloud. WatchGuard Cloud, as I've mentioned, it's the one-stop management center for anything regarding the partner and the customers. You can administer your licenses, you can monitor your environment, you can configure all the solutions that are supported by WatchGuard. And this is granular, account per account, each one with their policies, each of them with their configurations, operators, and being managed by the father account, which will be the partner account. That can change, of course. The user has also its single account that he manages himself. But the idea over here is to have really a single pane of glass where you manage everything regarding WatchGuard. And AuthPoint, it's no different. I can monitor the solution from this specific account or from all the accounts that are assigned to me. We offer on the monitoring side, all the statuses of how my environment is doing, how many authentications that I have, if I have denied purchase authentications, what are the users that I've been authenticating or having issues authenticating, and all the configuration as well. So over here, I can easily configure external databases for important users. I can use an Azure AD which will be connected directly to my domain in Azure, or even a local LDAP server, which I can configure the connection over here. Once I have this configured, I can state which groups of my domain I will be bringing to AuthPoint, which will be created automatically on the user space, and I can see which groups they're assigned to, the statuses of those user tokens, and also do some tests. One which is particularly useful is the user verification. When I'm trying to log in into a VPN, I don't know, I don't receive the push for any reason. Is this something related to the customer network or with WatchGuard Cloud? I can test it from here. So if I'm being able to communicate with the user, this is a test that the WatchGuard Cloud will send a push straight to the user without passing to the customer network. So if I receive it, it's probably something in the internal network. Okay, so a lot of information for troubleshooting and managing those users. Other configurations stay here as well. So I have what we call resources, which contain the configuration, the endpoints for protecting those resources we quickly commented about. They're over here. We have the VPN clients, we have the LogoNAP, we have SAML, and some other minor integrations. The first one with ADFS. So ADFS is like an EIM solution for on-premises for Windows resources that the customer can have. If he uses ADFS to control the permissions, we have a native agent that can very easily just include a step of multi-factor authentication on all of ADFS flows, everything configurable, of course. And the remote desktop web services. The login screen to access internal servers in the network will also have an agent that will require multi-factor authentication. We bring the direct integration with the fireboxes, so it is configured over here, and also a layer of APIs. So a customer can use multi-factor authentication on their in-house web application. So if I have something developed, like I don't know, a user portal, an intranet that I wanted to publish on the internet, but I want to use MFA, I can rely on the AuthPoint API to do that. The process is very simple. It's basically 3 API calls. Okay, don't be scared with this technical information over here. This is supposed to do by code integration. The step is really simple. I authenticate my web application with WatchGuard Cloud. It will generate a session token for me, which I just need to include in the subsequent calls. And I can also customize the message that the user will receive. So when I send that, I will already receive the push request from the user with my message over here. When I approve, I just need to check the transaction ID with the third and final API call that is required for push authentication. And I'm going to see, well, something happened, but if I have like a successful authentication message, that will be showed here, and the application can decide and keep up with the flow of things that he's doing. Finally, we have also the possibility of configuring the flow of authentication depending on some things. Normally, when we see corporate authentication solutions, they are fixed. So, well, I have this module for you to log in into your computer, but it's not flexible at all. Imagine that if you're in the office and you, I don't know, get up to get a cup of water. When you come back to your station, you have to log in with your token again. In this case, we use policies here and it's a concept that we borrow from the firewall, like it's a sequential list that upon receiving an authentication request, I will see the user group, I will see the resource that the user is trying to log in. And if she has a policy that is allowing that, he will just use that policy and ignore anything below. So a sequential list like a firewall works. And I can use that to modify a little bit the way that I do my authentications. So imagine that, well, I have two policies over here. Let's see this example. I have two policies that has the exact same groups and it has the exact same integration, which is allowing my user from these groups to access his station through Logo app. But one of them only requires password and the other is requiring MFA with a modifier over here. The only difference that we have is the authentication methodologies and this modifier rede interna. I can associate those policies some objects that I can create over here. So we have some others like business hours, like a schedule of time that I want this resource to be available. Like, I don't know, I just want my users to be able to access the VPN on business days and business times. We also have geognetics, which that means I can activate this control on a policy that will check the user authenticated, I don't know, now at 2 o'clock in Brazil. And he tries to authenticate again 10 minutes after that from Chile. Either the user has invented teleporting or is someone from Chile trying to log in on that user account. And we have a threshold for that, which is like the speed of a commercial plane. And upon receiving this authentication, we start the time counting until we receive the next one and verify if that movement was possible. So this also automatically contributes for authentication attempts from other countries. You can, of course, block countries as well. So I don't want to receive any requests from Fiji Islands for whatever the reason. This also works with the firewall in the concept of XDR that we bring. So whenever I receive a request from a country that is blocked, I can automatically send an order for the firewall to block that external IP if I also use a firewall from WatchGuard. So an example of products integration. And finally, I have this network modifier where I can state some trusted IPs or trusted networks and use that to modify the behavior of my policy. So as we are seeing, I have this rede interna active on my first policy. What does that mean? So if I am in one of those IPs that I stated on the policy object, the user will only be required to input his password to log in on his computer. If he's not that, it will require MFA normally. So whenever I am on the office, I won't be needing to approve my token when I'm trying to access my operational system. And to show that in action, let's do a little exercise. So as the policy says subsequential, I'm just going to invert the order over here. So now, if someone from those groups trying to access is going to require MFA no matter the case. So I'm going to input my credentials over here. And I am being logged in automatically. I don't know why. Let's try it again. Okay, it should be fine now. Okay, so now I received the request from the module. It automatically sends a push notification to me when it's active. You can see that I don't allow OTP tokens over here, so I disable that on the policy, and I'm going to simply approve it, and I have access to my station. But now let's invert things again. I already spoiled that with the magic with the interface, but let's do it, whatever. So if I am on the internal network, that means on those networks or my external IP that I placed there, I will be able to log in without MFA. And you can see it applies instantly. Okay, so I can do that with all the integrations, like to play a little around how I apply these processes to the user. Perfect, that's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope it was informative, it was good for you. We all learned something today. And I don't know if we have questions or if you're going to follow up with the quiz.
I think that we are ready for the quiz right now.
Okay. I'll give you the presenter.
So, okay.
Can see the users over here. Okay.
So, my screen is okay for you?
I can see it, Ali.
Okay, perfect. So we start. Please pay attention because we have some Amazon cards. So let's start. So I think that we have only one player, ANG, and I think that we need to start right now. The first question is, perfect. Protect networks against unauthorized access. The next question. Perfect. New generation firewall. What is the network firewall? Perfect. The number 4. Perfect. And the last one. Perfect. So, Andrew, you win. And we send you by email your Amazon card. So our the marketing person send you an email to you to send you the Amazon card. Okay. So thanks for attending this webinar, and see you soon. Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Carlita.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.